So I have an update today on the scam that happened over on the Silver Forum where buyers were taken for hundreds and hundreds of pounds. There is a restoration of faith in humanity because everything you see here has been donated to help those victims, and one of them's had a complete refund. So let's crack on and talk about what we can do to protect ourselves from scams so we don't have to rely on the generosity of strangers, even as amazing as that might be. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a warm welcome to you all joining me for another Precious Metal Ramble. Now, I have an update for you all on the scam situation that I highlighted earlier in the week, which happened over on the Silver Forum, which is still, in my opinion, one of the best places and safest places to trade precious metals on the internet. However, it does still highlight that there are potential risks anywhere. Nowhere is infallible on these types of situations. Scammers can weed their way in anywhere, and it pays to be very vigilant as a buyer. So I'm going to share some of my top hints, tips and tricks today, and also share some restoration of faith in humanity somewhat, because all the silver that you see on the table here, and in fact a little bit of gold as well, has been very generously donated by Silver Forum members to form some form of victim compensation fund. There's also great news in that one of the buyers that was scammed, one of the victims, has managed to get a full and complete refund from his bank's fraud team. Incredible. And it happened super quick, within a couple of days as well, which is absolutely incredible. So I know we have been quite hard on some of the banks on my channel in the past, and probably will be again in the future, but to get a result like that in a short space of time is an incredible result and something that is not to be ignored. So a lot to unpack in this video, and first I just want to pay homage to the community that has stepped forward and really banded together around this situation and donated all of this. I think there's more to come still as well, because I've still got, I think, 3 or 4 packages of stuff that people have said they're sending. So it's going to be a pretty incredible thing to have. And I don't know if we're going to be in a situation, which could be interesting, where if all the buyers get their money back from the fraud teams of their various banks, what do we do with all of this? I guess we're going to have to ask each individual contributor what they might feel they want to do. Whether we hold it and use it as another sort of victim scam fund at some point in the future, I don't know. But there is restoration of faith in humanity somewhat, because the community is incredible and not to be underestimated. But I think it's important to reiterate that something like this is not to be relied upon at all, unfortunately. If you're scammed, don't rely on the Silver Forum community or the greater YouTube community coming together to give you free silver to help compensate that. Don't rely on your bank being able to refund you the money that you've lost either. There are a lot of potential unhappy endings still to come in the world for this kind of situation. So it's most certainly something not to rely on. And that brings me to the sort of point I really want to make in this video, which is about due diligence at the point of purchase, and maybe where things need to be going forwards if you're buying stuff on the internet. Now, I heard a really great program on the radio here in the United Kingdom. It's called Moneybox. It talks all the things about money, savings, fraud, scams, everything. It's incredible. And they had a little piece on the radio which was about 80% of, I think it was Lloyds Bank here in the UK, 80% of the fraud that they deal with and the chargebacks that they deal with start from scams that happen on Meta or Facebook or Bookface or whatever it's called. I've never been a fan of Facebooky Bookface, and I've not really been on it. Well, I haven't been on it for the last 10 years. And before then I was sporadically on it and just got rid of it because it was garbage, quite frankly. But there are a lot of people who use it, and there's a lot of people who get scammed on Facebook as well. So my first piece of advice would be get rid of Facebook, get rid of Meta or whatever it's called, because I think it is a breeding ground for scammers. It can be very, very hard to get any justice on that platform at all. And I can't see any, well, I can't say any, but I can't see any communities on Facebook bounding together quite like the one on the Silver Forum did. And I think that's testament to the power of the community on the Silver Forum. So in terms of keeping safe when buying, if you're buying directly from other people, other members of the public, you've always got to consider that there is a risk. And another person on the Silver Forum really highlighted this by sharing a story of a gentleman that scammed in, I think, 6 figures from people. Silver Knight. It's a well-known thing that this person took. He was a poured silver producer like myself, and he ended up taking 6 figures from people and just walking away. Pretty vicious stuff, pretty horrible stuff. I don't know the ins and outs of all the details, but that's something that I have heard about and have seen, and it's not good at all. And it proves the point that even the best people with the best reputations can sometimes just flip and have that exit strategy. So it's always pains to beware that something could happen. And it might not be that somebody scams you. I've always worried personally, what happens if I just drop dead when I'm holding all of this silver for other people? Like right now, I'm being custodian of this victim compensation scam donation pool. What if I drop dead tomorrow? What if I get hit by a bus? What's going to happen to all of this? So I have had discussions with Mrs. Backyard Bullion and a close friend of mine who knows about the stacking and everything that we do, and have given instructions that if I part this mortal coil, if I kick the proverbial bucket unexpectedly, that there are probably going to be people left in the lurch, and it's important not to leave them in the lurch and to get it all resolved. So there's definitely concerns for anybody out there, and it is important. So my point here about being safe, right? I'm tangentially rambling. That's what I do best. So if you want to try and keep safe, stick to those people who have demonstrated really good, I personally feel ethics are a really important thing when it comes to this side of things. There are a lot of really good people out there, and good soul-hearted people that are just there to do good things in life, and they're not there to scam. They're not there to really what's the point? Like the person who sent these sweets out to people that scammed, it was for a grand total we estimate of around about £2,000, maybe £2,300, something like that. That's not going to change your life. That's not going to make you retire. It's just, what's the point in doing that? And I do feel that there's a lot of people out there in this world who feel the same as myself and others, and there are a lot of really good places to trade. So do bear that in mind. And what I would say is the best defense for yourself is to always, always, always only buy what you can afford to lose. So even in the remote situations that a really well-established, trusted seller just decides, I've had enough, I'm going to scam people, you're not left completely up the brown creek without a paddle. You can't pay your rent, your mortgage, your bills, your food. That is a big no-no. It's just common sense. And if you can't do any of those things without the money that you're potentially risking, then don't do it at all. The other thing to suggest is just really drill down on that due diligence. It's so important. There are a lot of resources out there, both human and other, to help you in understanding what somebody's motives might be, or their background might be, or how they're trading, how many times they've traded, what their results were, how they're going to handle you as a customer. And get advice from other people. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Just ask that question. Just say, hang on a second, what's going on here? Why is this such a good price? It's not difficult to ask those questions, and by doing that, you will better protect yourself. So ultimately, the advice is pretty simple. It's keep it on the small side. Buy from those reputable people, and don't go too much into the realms that you can't afford if you're going to be buying from those best bargain type price people. It is really important to remind you that nothing is too good to be true. If you see gold at 50% spot price, that ain't real. That's a scam. If you see a random company out there who's selling a monster box of silver at a spot price, ask yourself, why is that happening? There are plenty of reasons why that could be happening that are not good. And it's super important to do, because one of the victims of this has had his money refunded by the bank, which is incredible. But it is not guaranteed to happen. And there are a lot of people out there in this world that don't get that kind of compensation from their banks. So it's very important to keep your own finances safe and secure and not at risk. So yeah. Anyway, look, there's some faith in humanity, because all of this silver has been very generously donated. I mean, I just can't say how incredibly impressed I am with the forum, with the community spirit there. And even one of the victims, the one that has had their refund, has donated as well to this pool. So it's incredible to see how strong the community is. but it's not to be relied on, remember. So don't take it for granted. That's really important. So that's it from me today. I'm sorry, I could ramble on for more, but I have a really bad case of man flu. You might be able to hear. Sounds like I'm holding my nose whilst I'm talking, but I've managed to get through without sneezing, spluttering, or sniffing too much. So yeah, let's call it a day there. Thank you one and all so much for your viewership. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Otherwise, that's it from me. We'll see you on the next one. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.